Hey guys, welcome back to FLA Labs. Today I'm going to show you how to make what I'm calling the baby's first arcade. The first step is to jump over to Maker World and search baby's first arcade, and then download the files. You'll see in the print profile that I have 4 plates set up. That's so that you can either print all the parts at once or print them individually in different colors. Once we're happy with the print settings, it's time to send it to the printer. Matter Hackers was kind enough to sponsor this video. They provided the filament, which is Pro Series Jet Gray PLA. They were also kind enough to send me this printer, which I honestly can't understand considering the size of my channel, but I'm seriously grateful. It's an awesome machine and it's a pleasure working with Matter Hackers as always. The combination of a bamboo printer and Matter Hackers Pro Series PLA means my prints are pretty much perfect every time with minimal layer lines. Thank you Matter Hackers for sponsoring this video. Your continued support is helping my channel grow, and for that I'm truly grateful. Now it's time to begin assembly of the button toy. As you can see, all these parts are designed to just snap in place. It is important though that they're turned the right way. So for the buttons, you want the prongs towards the center of the housing. And for the power switch, you want to make sure that the on position is up or towards the LED. Once you have the buttons in place, it's time to shift our attention to the LED. I 3D printed this little sleeve that keeps the legs from shorting to each other, and it'll also prevent the LED from being pushed back into the housing. When you put the LED in place, be sure that the longest lead, which is the negative on this particular LED, is shifted to the right hand side. Next we install the threaded insert that will be used to secure the rear cover. I know there are specialty tools for this, but a soldering iron and a little patience works just fine for my purposes. I decided to order my PCBs from JLC PCB. They're a past channel sponsor, and even though they're not sponsoring this video, I've always been impressed by the quality of their products, so I decided to use them again. As far as the PCB goes, there's actually only 3 components that need to be mounted. That's these 2 resistors and then the LED, which we'll do next. The purpose of these resistors is actually to set the brightness of the LED. So if you find that your battery is draining too quickly, all you have to do is replace these resistors. Usually these little leads that I'm cutting off would be just garbage, but we actually need to keep one of them for a small board repair later. Next we connect our coin cell battery holder. On the board there's markings for the positive and the negative connection. And this is that board repair we were talking about earlier. Unfortunately, my design for the board left a small gap here in this trace. So this resistor needs to be connected to the negative terminal of the battery, but that trace is not connected. So all I'm doing is soldering this little piece of wire that was left over from the resistors to complete that connection. The next step is installing our PCB into the project enclosure. As you can see, lining up the pins is kind of irritating, not my best design, but with a little patience you can get them to slot into place. And then the PCB actually sits right down on the tabs for each of the buttons and the power switch. The next step is to solder each of the tabs for the buttons and the power switch to the PCB. Unfortunately, while I was soldering, I accidentally burnt the edge of the enclosure. It's ugly, and I'm pretty sad about that. But I decided for the sake of the video that I would just carve off the damaged part so that the enclosure would close properly. And I'll be careful not to do that again when I build the next one. The last step for soldering is the leads for the LED. This is pretty tricky to do because they're so small and so close together. I would recommend using a soldering iron with a pointier tip. I have a blunt tip on here and that is pretty limiting. Now that the electronics are done, the last step is to secure the battery holder in place. Make sure that it's turned on if you have the style that has a power switch, and then install the rear cover of the enclosure. I decided that the project really didn't feel complete without custom packaging, so I used some online tools to design a small box for it, and then I cut it out with my CO2 laser. I found that the folds are a little bit cleaner if you go through and kind of dent the scored lines before you try folding. So that's what I'm doing here. Now I'll add a few stickers that are custom designed just for this packaging, and I think they make it look kind of cute. I've decided to make this toy available on my Etsy shop. I'll be selling it as an assembled unit or as a kit where you can 3D print your own parts. If you have any interest at all, or maybe you have a niece or nephew that would like one of these, it's a great way to support my channel. I'll have them on there, and there will be a discount code in the description of this video. Thanks for watching to the end of this video. I had a lot of fun with this project, and as you can see, my daughter likes the toy that we built. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing. But that's all for this video. We'll see you next time.